My dear friends, please support me by clicking the subscribe button. Your support means so much to me. Let's grow this family together one story at a time. Thank you so much. She helped an old woman carry firewood, not knowing that small act of kindness would change her life forever. Grace was a young woman living in Anambra State. She was known by everyone as a kind and gentle person. Even though her family was poor, Grace always had a smile on her face. She lived with her mother and her younger brother, Peter, who was crippled and could not walk without help. One sunny morning, Grace was walking down a dusty path in the village when she saw an old woman struggling to carry firewood. The wood was heavy, and the old woman's hands trembled with the effort. Grace didn't hesitate. She rushed to help her. "Please, let me help you," Grace said softly, taking some of the firewood from the woman's tired hands. The old woman smiled warmly. "Thank you, my dear. You are very kind." Together, they walked slowly toward the old woman's small hut. Grace carried half of the firewood, feeling happy to help. The village was simple, and life was not easy, but acts of kindness like this made days brighter. After they reached the hut, the old woman invited Grace to sit down for a moment and drink some water. "Why are you so kind to a stranger like me?" she asked curiously. Grace smiled and said, "My mother always told me to help others when I can. Kindness makes the world better." The old woman nodded and said, "You have a good heart, Grace. I am lucky to meet you." Little did Grace know, this small act of kindness would change her life forever. After helping the old woman carry firewood, Grace returned to her home feeling light and happy inside. She knew she had done something good, even if it was just a small thing. But sometimes, small things lead to big changes. The next day, as Grace was sweeping the yard, she saw the old woman coming down the path toward her house. Grace smiled and invited her in. "I came to thank you again," the old woman said. "Because you helped me yesterday, I want to offer you something." Grace looked at her, surprised. "What is it?" The old woman smiled. "I have a little shop in the village. It is small, but it is my home. I need someone honest and hardworking to help me run it. Would you like to work for me?" Grace's eyes brightened. "Yes, I would love that. Thank you very much." Starting the next morning, Grace began working at the old woman's shop. It was a small wooden building filled with food, cooking oil, salt, sugar, and some clothes. It was not a big business, but it was steady work. Every day, Grace greeted customers with a warm smile. She sold goods carefully and made sure no one cheated her. The old woman watched her closely and nodded with approval. "Grace, you are doing a good job. I am happy I trusted you," she said. Grace worked hard because she had a goal. She wanted to help her family, especially her brother Peter. Peter was sick and needed medicine, but money was always tight. After closing the shop, Grace sat down and thought about her family. She wished she could earn more money, but she was grateful for this chance. Helping the old woman was the start of something new. Grace believed that if she kept working hard and staying kind, better days would come. Life in the village was not easy for Grace and her family. Every day brought a new challenge. Grace's little brother, Peter, was born with a problem in his legs. He could not walk like other children. Because of this, Peter needed special care and medicine. Peter became very sick. His body was weak, and he could not even eat properly. Grace's mother grew worried and called the village nurse. After checking Peter, the nurse said he needed to go to the hospital in the nearby town. The medicines they had were not enough. Grace's heart sank. The hospital was far, and the bills were expensive. Their family was poor, and they did not have enough money. "We must take him to the hospital," Grace's mother said quietly. "We have no choice." Grace held Peter's hand as they made the trip. The hospital was a busy place, full of doctors and nurses moving quickly. They admitted Peter, and he was put on a bed with machines around him. Grace stayed by his side every day. She talked to him softly and held his hand so he would not feel scared or alone. But the hospital bills kept coming. The doctors said Peter needed more tests and treatments, but the money was running out. Grace sold the little money she had saved from working at the shop, but it was not enough. One night, Grace sat outside the hospital, looking at the stars and praying silently. "Please, Peter, get better. I will do anything to help you." Her heart was heavy with worry. She wanted to be strong for her brother, but sometimes it felt too much for one person to carry. Grace knew she had to find a way to save Peter. She couldn't give up. No matter how hard life became, she promised herself she would never stop trying. Grace wanted to do everything she could to help her brother Peter. But the biggest problem was money. The hospital bills were getting higher every day. Each test, each medicine, and every doctor's visit cost more than she had. Grace sat on a wooden bench outside the hospital one afternoon, counting the small amount of money she had saved from her work. It was not much, only a few coins and notes, barely enough to cover the next medicine. She sighed deeply. How will I pay for everything? Where will the money come from? She asked herself quietly. Back in the village, Grace had tried asking neighbors for help, but most people were poor too. Some said they could help later, but no one had the money right now. Her mother was sad and tired. Sometimes she cried alone when she thought no one was watching. Grace felt the pain of her family's struggles like a heavy weight on her chest. Grace decided to visit the market. Maybe she could find a way to earn more money. She walked through the busy stalls, watching people selling fruits, clothes, and small items. She wished she could do something better than just selling goods in a small shop. At the same time, Grace never lost hope. She believed that kindness and hard work would bring her help, somehow. Maybe I can do more, she thought. Maybe someone will see how hard I'm trying. But deep down, she worried about Peter every moment. Without money, her brother's life was at risk. Grace's heart was full of love and worry. She knew she had to find a way to save him, no matter what. One busy morning at the market, Grace was selling small items from a basket. She hoped to earn some extra money to help pay for Peter's hospital bills. The sun was hot, and many people walked by, but few stopped. As Grace was packing up her things, a man in a neat suit approached her stall. He looked kind but important, like someone from the city. Hello, young lady, he said with a gentle smile. I saw how hard you are working. What is your name? I'm Grace, she replied shyly. Thank you, sir. The man listened carefully as Grace explained her situation, how her brother was sick, and how she was struggling to pay the hospital bills. The man's eyes softened. You have a strong heart and courage, Grace. I want to help you. Grace was surprised and could hardly believe her ears. Really? You would help me? Yes, the man said. I will give you money to pay the bills. But there is more. I want to help you find better work so you can support your family. Grace's heart raced with hope. She had never imagined someone like him would care. Thank you, sir. I don't know how to thank you enough, Grace said, tears forming in her eyes. The man handed her some money. Use this for Peter's medicine. Tomorrow, come to my office in the city. I will see what I can do for you. That day, Grace felt a new light in her life. She prayed quietly, Thank you, God. Please help me use this chance well. For the first time in a long time, Grace believed things might get better. She was ready to work hard and never give up. The next morning, Grace woke up early, her heart full of hope. She dressed carefully in her best clothes, a simple but clean dress, and walked to the city to meet the kind man. The city was bigger and busier than her village. Cars rushed past, and tall buildings touched the sky. Grace had never been here before, and everything felt new and exciting. She found the man's office, a tall glass building. Inside, the air was cool, and people moved quickly, talking on phones and working at computers. The man greeted her warmly. Grace, I'm happy you came. I want to offer you a job where you can learn and grow. Grace listened carefully as he explained. He owned a company that helped small businesses grow. He wanted Grace to work in his office, helping to organize and manage supplies, just like she did at the old woman's shop but on a bigger scale. This job will pay better, he said. And I will help you get training so you can become even better. Grace's eyes sparkled. Thank you. I promise to work hard. For the first time, Grace saw a future beyond the village. She thought about Peter and how this job could help pay for his treatment and give her family a better life. She worked hard every day, learning new skills and meeting new people. The city was not always easy. Sometimes it was loud and confusing, but Grace never gave up. She kept a photo of Peter in her bag and thought about him every time she faced a challenge. Stay strong, Grace, she told herself. This is just the beginning. Her kindness had brought her help, and now her hard work was opening new doors. Grace was ready for whatever came next. Grace's days in the city office were busy and full of new things. At first, everything felt strange: the computers, the fast pace, and the many people. But Grace was determined to learn. She asked questions and paid close attention. Her new boss was kind and patient. He showed her how to keep records, manage supplies, and talk to customers by phone. Grace worked hard to remember everything. Sometimes, when things were difficult, she would take a deep breath and think about Peter waiting for her back home. Slowly, Grace became more confident. She learned to use the computer and even helped organize small meetings. Her smile and honesty made her popular with her new coworkers. One day, the old woman from the village visited her. She was proud of Grace. "You are doing well, my child," she said. "I knew you would succeed." Grace smiled. "Thank you. I will not stop until I can take care of Peter." As weeks passed, Grace's salary grew. She saved money carefully and sent some back to her family. Every payment she made to the hospital brought her closer to saving Peter. Though life was busy, Grace never forgot the kindness that started it all. She continued helping others whenever she could, even in the city. Her story was changing, but her heart stayed the same, kind, strong, and full of hope. After some months, and Grace's hard work began to pay off. She became more skilled at her job and gained respect from everyone in the office. Her boss was pleased and offered her a promotion, a chance to manage a big team. Grace was nervous but excited. This new role meant more responsibility and better pay. She knew this could help her family even more. "Thank you for trusting me," Grace told her boss. "I will do my best." At home, her mother and Peter were proud of her. They could feel the change happening. The hospital bills were getting paid on time, and Peter's health was slowly improving. Grace sat with Peter, watching him, were very happy for the first time in weeks. "You're getting stronger, Peter. Keep fighting," she said. Grace's life was changing step by step. She still remembered where she came from, the small village, the old woman, the market, and how kindness started it all. Now, Grace was ready for bigger dreams. She believed that with hard work and love, anything was possible. Back in the village, Peter's health was slowly getting better. The hospital treatments were working, thanks to the money Grace sent from the city. Peter still used his crutches, but now he could move a little more each day. One sunny afternoon, Grace returned home for a short visit. Seeing Peter standing with his crutches made her heart fill with joy. "You're doing great, Peter," Grace said, hugging him tightly. "I'm so proud of you." Peter smiled shyly. "I want to walk like you one day, Grace." Grace laughed. "We'll get there together." Their mother watched them with tears of happiness. The family had been through many hard times, but now hope was shining bright. Grace spent the days helping her mother around the house and telling stories about the city. She could see that her hard work was making a difference. But Grace knew the journey was not over. Peter still needed time and care. She promised to keep working hard to give him the best life possible. Every small step Peter took was a victory, and Grace celebrated each one with a grateful heart. When things seemed to be getting better, new problems appeared. The hospital called Grace with more news about Peter's health. The doctors said Peter needed special therapy to help his legs grow stronger. This therapy was expensive and only available in a bigger city far from their village. Grace felt her heart tighten. The hospital bills were already heavy, and now there was more to pay. But Grace refused to give up. "We will find a way," she told her mother firmly. Back in the city, Grace worked even harder. She took extra hours at the office and saved every coin she could. Sometimes she skipped meals just to save money for Peter's treatment. Her coworkers noticed how dedicated she was and often offered to help. Some even gave small gifts or bought lunch for her to support her. Despite the long days and tired body, Grace's spirit stayed strong. She reminded herself why she was working so hard, because of Peter and the family she loved. After a long day, Grace sat alone and prayed softly, "Please give me strength to face these challenges. Help Peter heal." Life was not easy, but Grace's courage was bigger than any problem. She believed that with faith and hard work, the future would be brighter. One day, Grace was invited to a special event by her boss. It was a charity dinner held in a beautiful hall in the city. People from many places came together to help those in need. Grace was nervous but excited. She wore her best dress and hoped to make a good impression. At the dinner, Grace met many important people. Among them was a billionaire named Mr. Emeka. He was known for his generosity and kindness. He talked to Grace and listened carefully as she shared her story. Mr. Emeka admired Grace's courage and determination. "You have a strong heart, Grace," he said with a warm smile. "Keep working hard, and you will go far." Grace felt happy and thankful. She never dreamed she would meet someone like him. After the event, Mr. Emeka offered to help Grace and her family. He promised to support Peter's therapy and also offered a job opportunity for Grace in one of his companies. Grace was overwhelmed with gratitude. "Thank you, sir. This means so much to me and my family." With Mr. Emeka's help, Grace saw a new hope. She knew her life was changing in ways she never imagined. After the charity dinner, Grace's life took a new turn. Mr. Emeka kept his promise and invited her to work in one of his companies. This company was much bigger than the first, with many workers and offices in different cities. Grace was both excited and nervous. She knew this job would bring more challenges, but also more chances to learn and grow. On her first day, Mr. Emeka personally welcomed her. "Grace, I believe in you," he said kindly. "Work hard and don't be afraid to ask for help." Grace felt proud and ready. She worked with a new team, learning about business, leadership, and decision-making. Her new role was demanding, but she stayed focused. Every day, she thought about Peter and her family. This was not just a job, it was a chance to build a better future. Her salary increased, and she started saving more money for Peter's therapy. She also helped her mother with the household expenses. Grace's confidence grew. She was no longer just a girl from a small village, she was becoming a strong woman, ready to face any challenge. With each step, Grace felt closer to her dreams. Grace's new job kept her busy, but she never forgot her family. Every morning, before heading to the office, she called her mother to check on Peter. "How is he today?" Grace would ask with concern. "He's doing well, Grace. Thank you for calling," her mother always replied warmly. Even though the city pulled her in many directions, Grace made time for her family. She often sent money home to pay for Peter's therapy and school fees. Some evenings, after long days at work, Grace would feel tired and lonely. But remembering Peter's smile gave her strength. She dreamed of the day when he could walk without crutches and live a full life. At work, Grace learned to manage her time better. She planned her days carefully, balancing meetings, projects, and calls to her family. Her coworkers admired her dedication. They saw how much she cared not only about her job but also about the people she loved. One weekend, Grace finally had time to visit Peter again. Seeing him walking a few steps without help brought tears to her eyes. "Keep going, Peter. You're amazing," she said with joy. Grace realized that success was not just about money or jobs, it was about love, family, and never giving up. Just when everything seemed to be going well, Grace received troubling news. Peter had a sudden illness that made his recovery slower. The doctors said he needed urgent care and more treatment than before. Grace's heart sank. She felt a heavy weight pressing on her chest. "Why now?" she whispered. She immediately made plans to travel back to the village. Her boss understood and gave her time off. But Grace knew this was not going to be easy. The hospital bills increased again, and the family's savings started to shrink. Grace worked long hours, sometimes late into the night, trying to earn extra money. She didn't want to lose hope, but the fear was real. Despite the challenges, Grace never stopped believing in Peter. She spent every free moment with him, encouraging him to fight and heal. Her family stood together, supporting each other through the hard days. Grace's mother reminded her, "We are strong because we have love." This setback was difficult, but Grace's kindness and determination grew even stronger. She knew the road ahead was tough, but she was ready to face it. After weeks of worry and long nights, something wonderful happened. Peter's health began to improve slowly but surely. The doctors said his body was responding well to the new treatment. Grace felt a deep relief and joy she had not felt in a long time. She held Peter's hand gently, tears in her eyes. "We are going to make it, Peter," she whispered softly. The family celebrated the small victories, Peter walking a few more steps, smiling more, and eating better. Every day was a step closer to healing. Grace's hard work was paying off. With Mr. Emeka's continued support and her own determination, she was able to provide the care Peter needed. The village started to see the change too. People who once doubted Grace's chances began to believe in her strength. Grace never forgot to thank the old woman who started it all with kindness and a simple act of helping. With hope shining bright, Grace dreamed of a future full of possibilities for her, Peter, and her whole family. With Peter's health improving day by day, Grace felt a new confidence growing inside her. She was no longer just surviving, she was beginning to thrive. At work, Grace started taking on bigger projects. Her boss and Mr. Emeka trusted her more, giving her important tasks that showed her true abilities. Grace learned how to lead meetings, solve problems, and make decisions. Each success made her believe more in herself. Her coworkers noticed the change too. They saw a young woman who had risen from hardship, shining with strength and kindness. One day, Mr. Emeka called Grace into his office. "You have done very well," he said with a proud smile. "I see a bright future for you." Grace felt tears of happiness well up. "Thank you, sir. I will continue to work hard." At home, Grace's mother and Peter were her biggest fans. They saw her hard work and how much she cared for them. Life was still not perfect, but Grace had learned that with courage, kindness, and determination, she could face any challenge. She was ready to take the next big step in her journey. One bright morning, never been to such a grand place before. She wanted to make a good impression but also hoped to learn more about the world beyond her village and office. On the day of the event, Grace dressed carefully, choosing a simple yet elegant dress. When she arrived, she was amazed by the sparkling lights, the music, and the happy faces all around. Mr. Emeka greeted her warmly. "Grace, you have worked very hard. Tonight is a celebration of you and everyone who makes this company strong." As the evening went on, Grace met many interesting people, business leaders, artists, and community helpers. They listened to her story with respect and admiration. For the first time, Grace felt truly proud of how far she had come. She realized that her kindness and hard work had opened doors she never dreamed possible. The night was filled with laughter, music, and new friendships. Grace returned home with a heart full of hope and dreams. After the special event, Grace and Mr. Emeka began to see each other more often, not just as boss and employee, but as friends who shared hopes and dreams. Mr. Emeka admired Grace's kindness and strength. Grace respected his wisdom and generous heart. They talked about many things: family, work, and the future. Grace told him about Peter's progress and her dreams for a better life. Mr. Emeka listened carefully and often gave gentle advice. He encouraged her to believe in herself and never lose hope. Their friendship grew quietly, built on trust and respect. Grace found comfort in knowing someone cared deeply about her and her family. Sometimes, they shared quiet moments in the garden of Mr. Emeka's home, talking under the stars. Grace felt her heart open in a way she never expected. She was learning that love could come gently, like a soft breeze, bringing warmth and light. With this new friendship, Grace's world began to change again, this time in ways she had never imagined. As days passed, Grace and Mr. Emeka's friendship grew stronger. They spent more time together, sharing stories, laughter, and dreams. One afternoon, while walking through a quiet park, Mr. Emeka took Grace's hand gently. His eyes were warm and full of kindness. "Grace," he said softly, "you have shown me what true strength and kindness look like. I care about you more than words can say." Grace's heart beat faster. She felt a new feeling inside, a mix of happiness, hope, and a little nervousness. She smiled shyly and said, "I care about you too, Mr. Emeka." From that moment, something special began. Their friendship turned into love, a love built on respect, understanding, and hope. Grace thought about her past struggles, her family, and the long journey she had taken. Now, she could see a beautiful future ahead. Together, they dreamed of a life filled with joy, support, and endless possibilities. Grace's journey, full of challenges and kindness, was about to reach a beautiful new chapter. After months of growing love and trust, Mr. Emeka asked Grace to marry him. One evening, under the soft glow of the stars, he knelt down and spoke from his heart. "Grace, will you marry me and share your life with me?" She felt overwhelmed with joy and gratitude. "Yes, I will," she whispered. Their wedding was a celebration of love, hope, and new beginnings. Friends, family, and colleagues gathered to honor Grace's hard work and kind heart. Peter walked proudly beside her, his smile brighter than ever. Grace's life had changed in ways she never dreamed possible. From helping an old woman carry firewood to becoming the beloved wife of a billionaire, her story was one of kindness rewarded and dreams fulfilled. But through it all, Grace never forgot what mattered most: family, love, and the strength to keep going no matter what. As she looked into Mr. Emeka's eyes, Grace knew this was just the beginning of a beautiful future. The end. Thank you for joining Grace's incredible journey. From a kind heart helping an old woman carry firewood, to fighting for her brother's health, and finally finding love and success, Grace showed us the true power of kindness, courage, and never giving up. Her story reminds us that no matter where we start, with hard work and a kind spirit, our dreams can come true. Grace's life changed not because of luck alone, but because she chose to be kind, to help others, and to keep believing even in hard times. Remember, every small act of kindness can lead to big blessings. Just like Grace, you too can make a difference in your world, one step, one kind act at a time. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring tales. And don't forget to share your own stories of kindness and hope in the comments below. Until next time, stay kind, stay strong, and keep believing in the power of your dreams. Bye.